Shalom, this is Mary Omni from the house of King David. I'm the woman of Revelations 12 and the woman of Galatians 4:4, refer to the Bible. And I'm just asking you to consider that I am who I say I am. Because if I wasn't living it, it would be hard for me to believe in myself that I gave birth to King Emmanuel, February 15th, 2011. Okay, if I wasn't living it, and if I wasn't under severe attack like I am, it would be hard for me to believe too. So I'm just asking you to consider it, to open your mind to the possibilities that the kingdom of King David is here and God's army is on earth. It is 2012, and the main prophecy, which is the Sumerian and Egyptian prophecy, told you that Nerubu will be coming around 3,600 years. This is the time. That second sun you see is symbolic of King Emmanuel. Okay, this is a republic notice, different from the public notice. Republic means constitutional covenant notice, which has nothing to do with the public majority of in-corporate doctrine contractors. This is in reference to an article that was written in Alternet, and it was written by Chauncey Blvd. And it says, "Dear angry conservatives, dear angry white conservatives, chill out." Now, this was in another magazine, but it's, if you pull it up, you will see it's on several internet sites. This is a Republic notice. Chauncey Blvd, she has written a lot about blacks and Negroes. Now, she's kind of like, remind me of Juan Williams. Juan Williams wrote a lot about the civil rights, but Juan Williams is not a constitutional citizen. He is an in-corporate doctrine contractor that happens to be black and happens to have a Hispanic language descendancy. Now, Chauncey Blvd, I don't know what she is, but she could be like Stacey Dash and Mariah Carey. None of these are constitutional citizens. It's plenty blacks in this country that's not constitutional citizens. You know, Lisa Bonet, not a constitutional citizen. Not even a constitutional heir. See, you know, you have constitutional citizens and constitutional heir. Black Americans are constitutional citizens. And then we have the citizens of several states. Now, that would be like Diana Ross' children. She have Rhonda Ross, which is her eldest daughter. She is a constitutional citizen, non-consenter, a wholly non-consenter, born a wholly non-consenter. And Diana Ross have other children, and they're born wholly consenters, and they are the citizens of several states. But Rhonda Ross is the constitutional citizen, born from the supreme womb of Diana Ross. So the Supremes were named the Supremes because the ancestors told them to name themselves that, because then I can come back and tell you they was named that because they're the supreme wombs, and they're the supremacy clause in the Constitution. She is the first one to give birth to all persons born. So she's the first non-consenter. That's 3/5 couldn't consent to be governed. And the Dred Scott case upholds this. So this article by Chauncey Blvd is comforting dear white conservatives, you know, to chill out, comforting them about how the trampling of blacks is still going on regardless of President Obama re-election, that whites still have the most income, that there's no black senators really, and the only other senators is like 2 Asians and 2 Hispanics, but you whites still is the majority race. And you know you see it as a sum-zero game, that if blacks get any kind of gain, you see it as a mega threat, but you don't have to worry because you're still the majority race, and you're still hold all the cards, and you still got all that trampling power, and you still can trample the Constitution, minority supreme in it as the citizens, and you still can pretend that they not part of the Now, she didn't say this, that you can trample that. What she did was pump them up in that they have the majority income, their health statistics, they still the majority Senate, they all white senators, they all white governors, they all white this. And she wrote something called The Dignified Negro. And I don't really know who she is because I didn't look into her background. But if she is a constitutional citizen, she's a very disillusioned one. And basically, Dracons is helping her write foolishness like this. But if she is just black, then it's understandable that she would write this as a foreigner. So either she's a very delusional constitutional citizen, or she fits the description of how foreign blacks think. And sometimes blacks are foreign to their own constitutionality or their own covenantship. Okay, so, you know, they had 400 to 500 years of being beat up by these whites who have all the senates and all this and all that. And, you know, so my point is, dear white angry conservatives, this is from me. She said it was a zero game. I want you to know that the Most High wasn't playing no games when he put blacks in the Constitution. He said it wasn't no zero-sum game. God said it is, and so it is so. And they're the supreme constitutional citizens. They are the constitutional citizens on this land, and they in the Constitution, so they the supreme citizens. See, God don't have to play no games with you. Sure, you can trample like a pack of dogs, so she can come back and write something like, you hold this, you hold that, you hold this. You don't hold the contract, okay? You all you have is infringement, and all you have is stealing. Blacks been a national citizen since 1866, with constitutional enforcement rights since 1866 in every jurisdiction in the United States and other jurisdictions. They have had constitutional rights, supremacy, enforcement rights since 1866, okay, as national persons and citizens of non-consent jurisdiction, because they couldn't consent for the 13th, they couldn't consent for the 1866 national citizenship, and they couldn't consent for the 13th, 14th, 15th, or the 1871 U.S. corporation, which is their mule. So, by trampling, you pretend that you supreme this contract. But the truth of it is, the so-called Black Caucus, in your mind, you got them in districts. And in their mind, they may even got themselves in as stratified in district. But the women in there are the real senators. And they're the only senators on this land by supreme contract, whether you like it or not, whether you got a little Indian in you or not. They're the only women senators, and they're the first, and they will be the last. No 19th Amendment gave you nothing, because everything that's on this soil comes under non-consent jurisdiction, which means it reverts back to the constitutional citizens who are non-consenters. So no matter how many amendments, no matter how many acts that you attached after the 15th Amendment, which is the inherited vote of non-consent jurisdiction that could nullify the whole world if they voted against Judah Scepter, which is the constitutional citizens. The 15th Amendment can nullify the whole world votes if they voted against Judah Scepter, because God said it is, and it is. See, when you want to talk about a zero-sum game, you better talk about zero gravity. And trust me, the zero-sum game of white folks can't even compete. They're not even in the radar. They're in the radar of delusions of their Dracon master, who deluded them and led them to the last minute to their own delusions, because God gave them up to their delusions. They want to pretend the Civil War wasn't won, and they want to keep fighting and fighting and fighting. They fought to keep their children in debt. They fought to make themselves slaves. They fought to steal and degrade, and they fought themselves right out of the Constitution. They fought and fought and fought and fought after the Civil War was over until they consented away all. They fought to consent away all their Bill of Rights. They fought to consent their children to debt. They fought to consent their souls to Satan. They fought to suck the phallus of the Dracons. They fought to have their daughters have calcified pineal glands so the sun can burn them. They fought to get burned under the sun, because see, racism that makes you think you can supreme constitutional citizens is RAYCIST, racist. You're a sun ray and you assist. You assist as far as the sun is concerned. So it's just a matter of time before the cyst come on your face. If you want to fight the sun, you're going to have a cyst. So you're a racist. And it's a matter of time that the cyst going to come on your face. So take away your loads of money via infringement. See, because millions of dogs can trample and own the property, but it don't change the deed and it don't change the air. And you can even give birth. You can give birth to millions of other dogs. And I'm not comparing you to dogs. I'm just using it as an example. You can give birth to, I'm just using it as an example since y'all want to pretend animalistic herding changes everything, that animalistic herding changes everything because you can't come above an animal level or animal level thinking, that a minority is supreme in a contract, and we are a republic, not a public trampling animal majority. You can call it the democratic progressivism all you want. The Constitution is a republic. I pledge allegiance to the republic for what you stand, not the public immigrants who came here to trample on a dream, on 400 years of someone else's labor and 500 years of massacres of red and black natives. Okay, to help continue the massacre and the trampling and the genocide setup of constitutional citizens. Y'all want to make a big deal out of Benghazi. We got a Benghazi right here. Every time a cop shoot a black, he's shooting God's namesake and God's sovereignty. So y'all going to hell with all y'all disorientation of how y'all got all this power. The only one that really President Obama had to answer to is God Almighty, and now King Emmanuel and Judah Scepter. He don't really have to answer to y'all. He just playing the game until y'all understand that Christ is here. How do you think he walked in the White House in 2009 with 2 black constitutional supremacy clause women? Because the New Jerusalem temple had been finished. It started in 1526 when we was born here in in one of the Carolinas by one of these Hispanics captors, okay? 1526 to 2009 is 483 years. The New Jerusalem wall was finished for the 14th generational biblical inheritors. So your zero-sum game that you talk about, Miss De Vega, is a zero dung game. They're playing a zero dung game where their dung equal zero equal dung. Okay? Okay? And we're not all one. Because unless you are one with your shit, don't be talking about we are all one. God made his people set aparts, Jack. Non-consenters, set aparts. Set aparts, non-consenters. Only one on the planet that took the whip that didn't consent to Satan. We are not one, and we never was and will never be. You are the Dracon children. You do the work of your father. This is Mary Omni from the kingdom of King David. And I'm telling you, your time is up, Gentiles. You can hold on to your guns and Bibles, but guess what? Your Satan masters is falling out of the sky like they ain't nothing. All the ones that kept you in power, and that's all you had, really, in your dung contracts. And they falling out of the sky. So if you think you just going to hold on to your guns and that's going to change something, you need the guns so bad because you know you ain't got no real rights anyway. You got to stand your ground because Trayvon Martin owns the land. Owns the land. He's your landlord. And so is Sabrina and Tracy Martin. They're your landlords, like it or not. This is Mary Omni from the house of King David. Shalom.